Hey everybody, this is Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. I'm here with former NFL player Eric Davis. First and foremost, how you doing today?
I'm holding on for an old man. That's it. Just keeping it together with duct tape and staples, but I'm doing all right.
Hey,
How
man,
about yourself? Yeah.
oh man, I'm a little frustrated, man. Like you see the news of all these unarmed African American people getting shot by law enforcement. And I know, this is a touchy topic to talk about, but I wanted your personal opinion about how do we actually start these conversations and kind of move forward with trying to unify, the world together with just bringing everybody together.
Well, the first thing that has to happen, this is something, being a part of the black community, being a black man, is something that has been going on forever. And the way we move forward is to have others acknowledge that it's actually going on. I've heard so many guys say that, you know what, I want to be a leader. And when I say other guys, white guys, I'll go back to the Drew Brees comment when he was like, I want to be a leader in this. And I want to, after he made his comments and he came back and retracted the things that he had said, I want to be a leader in this community. Like, no, blacks don't need you to lead them. What we need you to do is to have conversations with people who look like you. That's what has to happen. You have to have so individuals, and in this country, it's for the most part, it's white males that are in position to help change policy, that are in position to help change the way these things are happening. Those that feel that things are wrong have to have conversations with people who look like them. That's what has to take place, because standing, marching, bringing, getting people to acknowledge what's going on, that's great. That's great. But now what's the next step? And that's the next step is policy. The next step is making treating human beings equally the norm. So that's what has to happen. So that's what I think has to take place. And that takes place when you get individuals that look like the ones that make the law, that help make the policy, walk into those offices and ones with the money, power changes policy. Those individuals have to talk to the people in those positions to get it to change. So you just got to keep making noise until you get those individuals to feel comfortable having those conversations.
Do you think Roger Goodell is doing the right thing with adding the Black National Anthem?
I'm sorry. Say that again one more time. You broke up on me a little bit.
Okay. Do you think Roger Goodell is doing the right thing with adding the Black National Anthem?
Do I think he is doing something? You're sorry about adding the Black National Anthem. Well, no. What does that do? What does that do? Seriously, nothing. What does that do? So that's what I'm saying. These are all gestures. I get, if you want to say things are wrong, say things are wrong. Adding a Black National Anthem. What is that? So well, to see if guys are going to kneel for that one. I don't know what's the reason behind that. That makes no sense to me whatsoever, and I don't know what it's going to accomplish by adding the Black National Anthem. What that does, so if you're saying you have a black, so listen to what you're saying, and listen to what this is presenting and representing. If you're saying that we're going to have the national anthem and the Black National Anthem, you are right there making a statement that these two aren't the same, that these individuals are different, that these individuals don't apply, they don't fall under the same rules that we fall under. We're not viewed the same. So that's what it is. What do you mean how do you have a Black National Anthem and then the national anthem? See, that's what I'm saying. That right there in itself is a separation act. So that's what I mean. Where you have to think about the things that are going on. And Roger Goodell is one of those people that's in position to where he can talk to policymakers. Roger Goodell has more power than the president. So seriously. Seriously, he can. The NFL is so strong, it's such an economic factor that you have to listen to the NFL, and he is the mouthpiece for those 32 owners, and they carry a lot of weight. Those 32 billionaire groups that run the NFL. So, like I said, that right there to me, when I first heard about it, and that's how I still feel today. That makes no sense to have it. It is a statement, a base statement that these individuals are different than the rest of us. If we have to have a national anthem for the country, and then here's one for black people. Think about it.
So I know football season is about to start in, I think, around 3 weeks. What are you most excited about with different teams that you're seeing right now?
Oh, I lost you altogether.
Okay. I see you. Can you see me?
I got you.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
Did you hear the last? Did you hear the last question?
I did not hear that last question. Maybe you know what?
Okay.
I'm going to try to move, and maybe my positioning can change, and this gets better.
Okay.
How about if I go over here? Let's try it here.
Can you hear me now?
Try it. I can hear you. Yeah, it's still breaking up, man. But yeah, but here we go.
Okay. So since football season is starting in the next 3 weeks, what teams are you most excited with watching and looking out for?
Teams I'm most excited to watch. Well, I mean, man, I was born a Niner, so that's how I came into the league. So I'm always going to be concerned with what the Niners are doing. I just like good football. I'm not a fantasy guy. I'm not a preseason guy. I'm completely fine with not having preseason games this season because they don't matter. No one shows anything. I played long enough to know that preseason games don't matter. Not for, establishing who's going to play and what's going to happen. It's to get some young guys ready. But where, the next level, the evolution of a Patrick Mahomes, of Deshaun Watson. I want to see what he's going to do with Nuke being gone. I want to see what's going to happen in Baltimore. And how important was it for them to get Earl out of there? With all of that craziness that's going on there. Is Lamar Jackson going to take them to the next level? Is that going to affect that defense with him not being there? Because that's not something they were planning on doing, I believe. Not playing without him. I want to see how that's going to happen. I'm interested in seeing what's happening with Pittsburgh with Big Ben coming back. The NFC West in general, I believe top to bottom is the best division. I want to see how that's going to play out. So, yeah, I mean, I can go all over the league. I'm a football guy, man. So I'm excited about seeing all of them play. Okay,
so what is your perspective about Alex Smith? Do you think he should kind of retire since he came back from that devastating leg injury? Or do you think he should actually still perform at top tier level?
Well, now, do I think he should retire? That's not my decision. That's no one else's decision but his own. That's up to him. He has to decide when it's up. Nobody told me when to stop. Most of the time, the game tells you to stop. Very few people get the opportunity to walk away from football. Football normally walks away from you. It tried to walk away from Alex. Okay, the game tried to say I'm done with you, and he refused. So if he says he wants to get back out there and fight it, I'm all down for it. I have no problem with that. And now his ability, we will see. I mean, the game will let you know if you can still play at the level that's necessary to compete. I think. Yeah, I mean, truth be told, if Alex's legs are right, he's going to be the best quarterback in their camp. If his leg holds up, because football's in your head. So it's not you train the brain, you just move the body, and what happens most of the time, the body starts to fail you. So very few veteran football players walk away because they're confused. They walk away because the body will no longer do what the mind's telling it to do. So if Alex if his body is back, if his legs are under him, if he's able to move and do the things that are necessary to play the position, he's the best quarterback on their roster right now. He's better than Haskins just because of the experience factor. He's been there. He's done it. But see, the thing about football, we all know no one wins a job or loses a job in the NFL. Opportunities are given and taken. So the question is, who is Ron Rivera going to give the opportunity to be the starting quarterback? We will see. But the question of whether or not I think Alex should retire is an easy one. That's up to him. If he says he's ready to go. I'm all down, and I'm happy. Dude didn't lose his leg. That's the most important thing to me. Yeah.
So what you planned for the 49ers in your time? What were some of the best experiences you took away from it?
Well, just, it's the opportunity to compete at the highest level, the opportunity to see and learn things about yourself, to how to survive adverse situations, how to understand the commitment that's there to be successful, to be a part of a team. You have to understand the weight that's on you to do your part. It's one thing to want to be successful. It's one thing to want to win a game, to want to win a championship. It's a completely different issue to put in the work and live up to the obligation that's necessary to accomplish those things. And football is hard. It's a very hard game. Being in a locker room is a lifelong, it's a lesson in the human condition. You learn to work with people, around people. It's sort of the way this conversation started. How do you get to the next level? Well, in that locker room, you have to learn how to deal with people you don't like. You have to learn how to deal with people that are from different parts of the country, backgrounds, belief systems, religious beliefs, music. They come from different education bases and economic bases, and all of these things you have to put aside and learn to work with someone for a common goal. And that's why it's really a lesson in the human condition. And these are things that I learned, walking into that room with grown men that had their own beliefs and families and all these things. And you can't change some of that. You can't make a grown man do anything. You can tell a grown man what needs to be done, and it's up to him to get it done. You can't make him do anything. And those are things that I learned. And during that time there that I carry on right now, that how to function through good times, how to deal with bad times, how to respond to those times, how to respond to the good and the winning, how to respond to the horrible losses and defeats that you're going to deal with and failures and move forward. All of these things are things that you carry throughout life. And I started learning those things as an adult playing for that team.
If you could sit down with Earl Thomas, what advice could you give him right now with just trying to become a better leader on and off the field?
I don't know if I necessarily need to give Earl any advice because there's this is the thing that I see from that. So it's not about sitting down and giving him any advice on anything. The only thing that I would say to Earl is you have to understand that you're a grown man. Earl's a grown man. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's a full grown man. He has the right to do what he wants to do with his life. He has the right to make the decisions that he is going to make, and how those decisions affect he and his family, that's on him. Understand, though, that in making those decisions and doing the things that you do, as you move forward in life, if these personal decisions, family decisions, be them good, bad, or indifferent, bleed over into the business that you work for, they bleed over into your team colors. Now the team has to respond to those in some fashion. They have to in some fashion, because now it's affecting the goodwill of them. So you got to understand the business, because Earl the man has the right to do whatever. Earl the employee has to deal with the consequences of those decisions. So that's the part that you just have to understand. So that's the only conversation I would have with him, is understanding how those personal decisions are affecting the business and your employer, and their responses are going to be based on what's best for them, not what's best for you. So how do you put yourself in the best light for the next employer is what you need to think about. Not about leadership or being, like how to handle yourself and make decisions. That's not for me. That's not for anyone else. That's his choice. But just know that whatever you do, it's going to affect you and you have to deal with it.
What is the next steps that the 49ers have to take to actually win a Super Bowl in this era?
To win a Super Bowl, just finish. That's all. just finish. Just finish. They were up by 2 scores with half a quarter left to play. Just don't give up 21 points. It's that simple. There's been all this talk about Jimmy Garoppolo and he didn't play well and he choked and all this stuff. Jimmy Garoppolo played well enough to have a 2-score lead in the fourth quarter. Yes, he had an opportunity in that fourth quarter to hit Sanders on that deep one that could have possibly given them the lead and the win. But you got the number 2 defense in the league. Number 8, I think, in scoring. You got a top 10 defense. You can't give up 3 scores in the Super Bowl in the fourth quarter. So finish. It's that simple. You did everything that's necessary. I think they have the squad. I think they have one of the best rosters top to bottom. The 49ers right now, I believe, I don't think there's anyone that knows anything about football that would say that would put them, if you're ranking rosters, just talent top to bottom, I don't know how anybody could put them less than the top 5. Right? I don't think there's no way that you can look at that roster top to bottom and say that they are not one of the most talented teams in the league. So when you get that type of locker room, you're already in position to win. So now you just have to finish. You just have to win the games. I told you, you have to learn how. You got to learn how to deal with the good times. You got to learn how to deal with the losses and the failures, and how do you compete when you're supposed to win, and what's the mindset and that you have to get there. Because as I said earlier in this conversation, you want to win. You want to win games. You want to win championships. But it's not about that. It's about doing the things necessary when it's time to get it done. Because you got to make the plays when they present themselves. Because the only play that you have to make is a play that you have to make. Don't worry about the ones that you don't have to make. So the plays that the only thing that mattered was that, that's the not giving up those 3 scores in the Super Bowl. Now you got to fight to get back to that position to have that chance once again. And when you get there, you got to finish. It's that simple.
So who's going to have a better year as far as 40-year-old quarterbacks, Drew Brees or Tom Brady?
Man, I don't know. If I had to pick one, I would say Drew Brees. Because Drew Brees is in his same offense. Drew Brees is playing with his same players. He has his same coach. When things go wrong, his coach is going to have the same belief in him that he has. When things are going well, his coach is going to have he's going to have that same passion about going after guys. Because Sean Payton tries to get defensive coordinators fired every week. That's his mindset. And the reason Drew Brees can get all these records and Mike Thomas can get all these records is because they have a head coach that will allow them to do that. Those records are important to him as well. And that's what Drew is around. He's around the guy that he built everything with. Tom Brady's in a new system. Tom Brady's going to have a different voice in his head. And Bruce Arians is a very good coach, but how is Tom going to react if something starts to go wrong? How are the teammates going to react if Tom is not the exact same Tom? How is Tom going to react when he starts getting hit in the beak? Because he's going to get hit a lot more than he's ever been hit. And on top of that, I still think the Saints are the best team in that division. I know everyone, because it's the greatness of Tom Brady, everyone automatically puts them in a Super Bowl. But right now, standing here today, I think Tom Brady is the 3rd best quarterback in that division because of what I just said. You have a coach, and a quarterback that understand one another with the Saints. I think they're a much better roster. That's a top 2-3 roster, definitely top 5 roster in the league. And everybody forgets that Matt Ryan was the MVP at one point. Matt Ryan's pretty good, and he still has his same guys in his same offense. He's not learning a new offense. Atlanta is better than what they put on paper last year, and I think they'll be better this year. So not that we threw Matt Ryan in this conversation, but if I got to say the better 40 plus quarterback this season, I think it should be Drew Brees, even though Tom has some weapons around him. I just think the new offense and all of these things, it's going to affect him.
In your perspective, what is exactly going on with the Cowboys organization? I know they just got this CeeDee Lamb, just gave Amari Cooper extension, but they won't give Dak Prescott a long-term deal. What exactly is going on in that locker room?
Well, number one, they did offer Dak a long-term deal. Dak decided not to sign it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that right there is a misnomer. Everyone's like, they won't give him a long-term deal. Well, they offered him a long-term deal. The deal that they offered him is not what he wanted, and he has the right to not sign it. I don't blame him. Personally, if I was playing right now and I was in a position of those guys, I would do exactly what Dak did. Sign the franchise tag. That's $30 million guaranteed. I mean, this dude has made what, $5-6 million his entire career, and now he gets to make 30-something million. Then you do it next year, and he gets you go that route. Take the guaranteed money, because everyone's talking about this life-changing signing bonus. Well, guess what? $30 million is life-changing. and he gets to do it again next year. So everybody's freaking out about Dak, and it doesn't matter. And what if he gets hurt? It doesn't matter if he gets hurt. If he gets hurt, we already talked about Alex Smith coming back. Darrelle Revis, everyone should look at what Revis did. And I said this years ago. When Revis started doing this. Sign a 1-year deal. You sign deals that are based on your talent, and then you get to re-up. You are in control, because football contracts aren't guaranteed. You are obligated to the team. By signing a 1-year deal, the teams are now obligated to you, because if you don't want to pay me, I can go somewhere else and see. And if you are in position like a Dak Prescott, everybody can say what they want to say. Dak's the best quarterback in that division. He's the best quarterback in the division. The Cowboys have a chance to go to the playoffs because of him. Without him, they're going to have some issues. That's just the way it is. Like him or not, Dak, Cowboys cut him. Well, he's a free agent. Don't sign him. He'll be working next year somewhere else for the same type money. So it doesn't. So what they're doing in the locker room, right? I don't think they are doing anything wrong. I personally think Jerry Jones does a good job as a general manager. A lot of people stay on him, but he pays his players. He gives them every opportunity to be successful. He finds ways to make certain that he has these guys ready to go at all times, from a draft standpoint, from a trade standpoint. He does everything that's necessary to have them there. The only thing I think he did wrong, he stayed with his coach a little bit too long. I always thought the old coach was more quarterback dependent than any other head coach in the league. He needed his quarterback to play well. He couldn't coach around his quarterback not playing well. But beyond that, I don't think Dallas is doing anything incorrectly. You go out and you get CeeDee Lamb. You have a quarterback in Dak Prescott. You're trying to get him. You're trying to get him receivers. You trade for a receiver, you draft a receiver, you have a running game going. Jerry has a system that has worked for him. It was running the ball, playing good defense. That's what he wants to do, and he wants his quarterback to have weapons outside that are efficient. So when you stack the run, he can make plays out there and take advantage of it. That's what they're putting together. I don't think anything is wrong, and I also, like I said, they did offer Dak a contract. Dak made a business decision that was best for him. And I personally think he made the right decision. There's no reason for him to sign a deal that would be less money. He's already on a deal, a better deal. Because if you franchise him this year, You're going to have to raise the franchise tag next year to a certain amount. You can franchise him again after that. But if you do that, he's going to end up making more money. So why? He's already on a $40 million a year deal. Why sign a $30 million year when he's already on the deal? And that's what you have to look at. You got to look at the business part of it. And as I said, if he keeps himself in a situation to where he has all the leverage, all the power. Dak Prescott is in complete control of the Dallas Cowboys, as opposed to the Dallas Cowboys being in complete control of his career. He's in complete control of the Dallas Cowboys because he gets to dictate what he does. He can walk away, or you got to pay me a whole lot to keep me. I kind of like what he did.
Now, a lot of people are discussing that the Chiefs are going to be the new dynasty. Do you think the Chiefs are going to be a new dynasty, or do you think that, this is the one and done type of deal?
Well, Andy Reid's a very good coach, so Andy Reid's
yes.
Yeah, so he's always going to be there. Andy Reid has always been there. So the one and done, the dynasties, all these type things. First of all, it starts with a philosophy. So do you have a philosophy that gives you an opportunity to be in position to compete? Yes, Andy Reid does that. I mean, everywhere he's ever coached, he's found ways to get his teams there. He is one of the most underrated coaches in the league, I think. And Andy Reid is an assassin, and people don't give him credit for it because you look at him and he looks all nice and jolly and all this stuff. But if you think about his teams, I mean, he's one of those guys that just tries to destroy people offensively. And he's brilliant with coming up with schemes. When he has talent, he knows how to utilize the talent that he has. He has a quarterback that just continues to get better and better. Now, the issue is going to be in the dynasty. The whole thing about this whole dynasty deal, it's about maintaining success. And how do you do that? You when you start losing players, because you're going to lose some of these players. Because you can't keep paying. I mean, they paid guys this offseason. You paid Patrick Mahomes. You can't keep paying everybody. You got to let somebody go. Can you replace those guys? Can you keep the talent level up? Is your scouting department up to finding all of that talent to replace the guys that are going to leave when you have to pay, when you can't pay everyone? As far as managing the cap and keeping all of these guys around, are you going to be able to do those things? That's the important part. So the dynasty, do I believe the coaching staff and the front office, is this something that they have a system in place that it could possibly happen? Yeah, but there are too many factors. I mean, there's health that could knock you out. You lose a player that you're counting on. All of these things come into play. Right now, they won one. Let's start talking about dynasties when they've won, 3 or 4. It's too early. It's just simply too early. Now, do I believe they will be in position to compete? Yes. As long as Patrick Mahomes is healthy, they will be in position to compete. If you got a good quarterback, you got a chance. That's like we were just talking about Dak Prescott. Say what you want to say. The Cowboys got a chance because they have the best quarterback in the division. They have the most consistent quarterback in the division. So as long as right now, Kansas City has a quarterback that we all know can make plays. And if you have that with Andy Reid, pulling the trigger, you have an opportunity to compete. And that's where I think they will be. So that's what I'll say about Kansas City. But the dynasty talk is premature. They won one. You got to win more than one.
Completely understand that. What advice can you give some of these rookies about just starting their first game or either their first season?
Just prepare yourself. Just know that now you're no longer a student athlete. You're professional. You're a CEO now. You are the CEO of your own enterprise, of your own corporation. And the advice I'll give them is something that my first defensive coordinator, Bill McPherson, told me when I got to the 49ers. He would say it all the time: autograph your performance. And by that, he meant you can tell me all these things that you've been preparing for. You can tell me how much you love the game and all these things, but put it on film. You get to write on film exactly who you are, exactly what you're about, exactly how much the game means to you. Let's always know and understand. Football, you can love it. You can love it with all your heart. And all these rookies, you always wanted to be in the NFL, and it could be a childhood dream and all of these things, and you are there and all this stuff, but you will learn quickly. Football doesn't love you back. Football has no feels. It has no feel. It does not care how much you love it. It doesn't care if you hate it. It doesn't care if you're in a good mood, bad mood. Doesn't care if you're injured. Doesn't care if you're healthy. Football does not care about anything. Doesn't care about your love. The only thing it cares about obligation and commitment. And that's what you have to understand as a rookie. Is you have to be committed enough to put in the work to do the things that you are obligated to do to perform. And just know that. And I would tell them that. I would tell them, stop trying to be good. You're already good. You wouldn't be in the NFL if you weren't good. Everybody in the NFL is good. Everybody is capable of making a good play. Everybody has had a good day. It's about being consistent. So that's what you have to understand. You have to consistently do what you're supposed to do. If you have a game, if you got 20 snaps, you have 20 snaps, you do all 20 snaps, you're probably going to get more. If you get, let's say you have 70 snaps, give me 70 good snaps. That's going to turn into, and like I say, just do your job. Be consistent and do your job. That's a good day. If you do that week after week, that's a good season. You do that season after season, that's a good career. So it's about doing your job. So be consistent, do what you're supposed to do, and on the way to doing your job, you'll fall into some good plays, some great plays. So that's the advice. Stop worrying about being good. Learn the things that are necessary. Be committed to do the work that you're supposed to do. Understand the obligation that you have to the men standing next to you in the huddle. Do your job so I don't have to worry about you doing your job. That's what I want from my teammate. I don't want to have to question whether or not you need me to help you do yours. I got my own worries, okay? I got to take care of this right here. So you take care of that. And that's when you have a good team. And that's when you have a good rookie. The quicker he gets that and understands. Like, dude, I don't have time to babysit you. Get it done. So that's where things are. Yeah.
And my last two questions are: what are your top two Super Bowl teams that you want to see in this year's Super Bowl? And do you think fans is actually going to be down in Tampa this year or next year?
Okay, wait a minute. What teams do I want to see in the Super Bowl?
Besides the 49ers.
Okay, yeah, and this is the thing right now. That whole Super Bowl prediction, it's too early. It's way too early, man. It's too early. They haven't even made out of training camp. We don't even know. Seriously, we don't even know who's healthy. So think about it this way. Let's think. And I do not want this to happen. But all the talk with Tampa and everything's going. What happened if Brady gets hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. With everything that happened, with everything that's happening in New Orleans, if something happens to Drew Brees, let's just say Drew Brees, some freak, and we see it all the time. Guys get injured and they don't even get touched. That happens. Or the first game of the season. The first game of the season, one of these guys, they get a knee, an ankle, they a shoulder. So that's what I'm saying. It's too early. We got to get into October. We got to get into October before you can even remotely even know what's going on. How are the rookies going to mesh? How are they going to gel? It's this crazy thing like with the 49ers where, everyone was talking, the fan base and everyone revenge tour and all this stuff. You can't revenge last season. There's no such thing as, it's just like, it's like defending the Super Bowl. The Chiefs aren't defending. You can't defend the Super Bowl. That was last season. It's over. It's a different team. It's a completely different team. It's just like the guys on the 49ers. They can't defend, or there's no revenge to get from that. You have guys on this squad that just got drafted. They had nothing to do with that. You got guys like Trent Williams who's coming in, he wasn't there. He's not revenging anything. He's happy to be out of that dumpster fire in Washington. He's happy to be playing football. So you see what I'm saying? So that's the thing about it's too early to go into that. You can look at teams and, the Niners, the Saints are going to be a problem. Of course, you got to consider Kansas City. You got to consider Baltimore. I actually think Pittsburgh is going to be better than people think. I mean, there are a lot of teams that we could name that could be in the mix, but it's too early, man, to start talking about Super Bowls. That's it. And now, what was that second question?
Do you see fans going to be in Tampa during Super Bowl week?
Do I see fans in Tampa doing Super Bowl week? Well, it's Florida.
Yeah, well, there be fans out there doing Super Bowl
week. Well,
you
know what? This is the thing. There's Florida, and they let you do stupid stuff in Florida right now. And yes, I do say stupid stuff because whether or not you want to believe that COVID-19 is real, again, I'm going to let every adult decide that on their own. You can do what you want to do, but why take the chance? If it is, why put yourself in that crowd? Why put yourself in something that type of situation when I can watch it on TV? It just doesn't make sense right now. So if the league, and this is something I don't think the league will do. I don't think the league will have all the activities and all the normal things that you have going on during a Super Bowl for this time. I think they're going to do that simply because of the pandemic. I don't think they're going to do that because I think they're going to try to save people from themselves because if you build it, they will come. Because that's just how football fans are. And Florida is a state in which they will allow the gatherings, and I just don't think that's safe. So I don't think the NFL is going to do it. So I don't think you're going to have those big crowds and the parties and all of those things going on that you normally have during Super Bowl week. I don't. And that's just a guess, But I just don't see the league. I don't see the league trying to set things up for that to be a possibility.
Okay. Yeah, because I was thinking about, talking to one of my insider guys and seeing if they can, somehow talk to Roger Goodell about pushing the Super Bowl back. I mean, it just makes sense because it seems like everything is rushed. Don't you feel that way as well?
Why do you have to push the Super Bowl back? For what?
I mean, to generate more income. I mean, they're losing, tons of money.
But pushing it back. No fans. But pushing it back is not going to change that's not going to change anything. And the only income that they're losing, the money that they're losing, is from the stadiums. They're losing the stadium revenue. They're not losing any of their television revenue. They're not, and that's where the majority of the money comes from. See, there's this belief that. There's this belief in fans, and I've had this discussion with fans, and it's just like, I pay your salaries, and I do this, and I pay the player's salary. No, you don't. No, you don't. I get you buy a ticket to be entertained. You got to understand that football is entertainment. Football players are reality television stars. It's entertainment. You buy a ticket to go to the play. That's what you're doing. When you buy a jersey, you're getting that memorabilia and all of these things. And that's great. That's price of admission and all of these type things. But that is taking care of that venue. That's going to that owner. The players' salaries are being paid by the television rights. That's what pays the player's salary. Now, I get there's this whole discussion. Well, without the fans, then you wouldn't have the television revenue and all these type things. I agree. We can get into the chicken or the egg. We can do all these things. We could do that. But just this right here is proof positive for that argument, that discussion. There will be no fans in stadiums, and players are still playing and getting paid. Because of the television rights. That's where the money comes from. So yes, they're losing some money, but they're not losing that type of money. The money that they're losing, it's the stadium revenue. It's for the parking. It's for the hot dogs. It's for the it's for the Coca-Colas and all these type things. And those sponsors are going to say, well, I'm not paying you this money since there's no reason for Coca-Cola to pay, millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars to you when they're not getting the advertisement because you don't have that 80,000 people coming through the stadiums that 10 times a year. And that's what you're paying for, and True Value or John Deere, they're like, no one's watching the field, so advertising this field as, being taken care of by Home Depot or True Value or, John Deere. So it's the business. Again, you got to understand the business aspect of it. But extending the Super Bowl back is not going to change anything. Because if you play the Super Bowl on the scheduled date or you push it back right now, all you're going to do is have more talking heads on talking about it. But it's not going to generate any more money. We're just going to have to listen to guys make stuff up for another week or so. Because most of the guys talking about it don't know what they're talking about.
Good point. So, Mr. Eric, that's my time right there. It's been a pleasure for you to come on my show and, talk football, talk about your journey a little bit. I would love for you to come back on the show in mid-season so we can discuss about the Super Bowl teams.
Yeah, okay. You hit me up a little later in the season. All right, man. Good talking to you.
Always. All right, same here. Have a blessed one.
You too, man. Take it easy.
Yes, sir. All right, now.